Okay, it's on live on the air. Let me double check here with my. If anyone notices a skull with 2 swords underneath it, that's my other me, and that's just a way I'm checking to see if the feed's working and that I can record stuff.
We've been hacked.
Hello, me. It's me again.
Right, cool. Let me see, and I can share.
Good. I got all my politics stuff uploaded. We are ready to roll.
Let's see, is this the right one? Yeah, that's the one. Let's see. Wait, no, that's the wrong one. I want this one, right? Yep, I want that one with Paul's face. And I can go back to that. All right. So if I share, this will like. Do you see that?
Yes.
Okay.
I should also put in here somewhere, because the headlines were so earnings centric, that we do have all the detailed earnings on the headline show.
Yes. I kind of stayed away from the straight money stuff because I wasn't sure how interesting that would be. Plus, you covered it in the headlines.
Yeah, I mean, I think we should keep in mind that this is, I mean, that they are 2 separate shows, right?
Yes.
But I think it's like, look, record news for Samsung, good news for Facebook, mixed to good news for Twitter, and read all about it on the
headline show.
The headline I read this morning was that Jeff Bezos has knocked Gates off as the world's richest man.
I believe that is true as well. You know, that stuff kind of always winds up fluctuating on stuff that is always less interesting than the headline, right? But that's certainly true. I mean, look, for somebody that got, I think, fairly criticized initially for running a company that wasn't taking enough profit, Jeff Bezos sure won in the long run, huh?
He's doing just fine now, and I think there's plenty more room to go.
Him and those guns of his. Jeez Louise.
Yeah, when did he start that? That's not a recent thing, is it?
Well, you know, I think, I forget whether or not this came from somewhere or we just made it up on the Weird Things podcast, but he, like Elon Musk, are very space focused. So let's say you were Jeff Bezos and you were very, very goal driven and you wanted to go to space, you would probably start around now, starting to get into the kind of shape that you would need to do to go to space.
You need guns like these.
You need guns like these. All right, and I'm recording everything, right?
Yeah, you're gonna record the show. So right before you start the Patreon auto, you hit record, and then you end it after Brushwood goes.
Got you.
I'm doing the whole pre and post show records.
Sweet.
So let me hide. You two have a great show. I will be throwing up screens, so don't be freaked out.
Okay.
Any questions?
No, I think we got this one.
Cool.
All right. Well, hello, chat. How are y'all doing? Where's my news band blazer? Listen, too busy today. Too busy for the blazer. Also kind of too hot. So we are at the middle of the hour. We will begin. Actually, here, Paul, can you just give me a level real quick?
Yeah, here I am. This is me.
All right, check. 1, 2, 3. Perfect. Everything looks fine and dandy. So here we go.
What's that? You want to give back some value for the value you get out of Daily Tech News Show? No problem. Just head to dailytechnewsshow.com/support to find out how.
It's the Daily Tech News Show for Thursday, July 27, 2017. I am Justin Robert Young, filling in for a vacationing Tom Merritt, but joining me all from around the world. We had to scour the globe to find a guest that could pair with me in a Tomless show, and so we found the man for you. He is Paul Spain. How you doing, Paul?
Great, thank you, Justin.
Now, we got a lot to talk about here. A huge earnings day. If you want all the details on that, I would suggest you go ahead and check out our Daily Tech headline show. The TLDR on it, record quarter for Samsung, really good news for Facebook, mixed to good news for Twitter. But aside from that, let's go ahead and get into some tech news you should know. In its second quarter earnings call, Facebook announced that WhatsApp has reached 1 billion users per day. Those users send 55 billion messages and 4.5 billion photos each day. WhatsApp status, its cloned Snapchat Stories feature, also reached 250 million daily users. This is up from them a year ago saying that they had 50 billion per month. So that's a huge jump year on year. Digital news. Sorry, go ahead, Paul.
Yeah, it's I guess highlights what a good acquisition this has ended up being for Facebook.
Oh, certainly so, and not a small part of their bottom line. Digital news and entertainment site BuzzFeed is releasing a $149 hot plate dubbed the Tasty One. The Tasty One Top. It's described as a precision smart cooktop, letting users pan, pot, slow cook, and more, featuring Bluetooth control via the Tasty app. The Tasty One Top will ship this November. Now, I wanted to highlight this story, A, because it's ridiculous, and sometimes I love the silly and absurd, but also because of how much online retail has become a huge part of sites like BuzzFeed and the Daily Dot and what's left of Gawker. These kind of retail agreements are huge. I'm curious, Paul, do you think that BuzzFeed can transfer into a brand that you trust for cookware?
Well, I'm not sure whether they can, but I think just the reach that they have means that they will be selling these, I'm sure. And in the old days, it used to be the infomercials that would be selling products. And they've got room to sort of create the next generation of infomercials to sell and promote these. So I wouldn't be surprised if it pans out okay for them on this one. It's a pretty expensive product for what it is, though.
Pans out. I see what you did there. Now here we have some more top stories. CNBC has revealed Amazon is starting a secret team dedicated to healthcare, dubbed 1492, in reference to when Columbus sailed the ocean blue and landed in the Americas. The team will be headquartered in Seattle, focusing and will cover both hardware and software solutions to the project. Among the opportunities being looked at are pushing and pulling data away from legacy data systems, a platform for telemedicine and virtual consultations, and health applications for existing Amazon hardware like the Echo and Dash Wand. We'll be going deeper into this in our discussion, so we'll kind of keep it quick here. Paul, Amazon getting into healthcare, just a one-sentence thought before we do a deep dive later in the show.
Smart, lines up with what they're doing with the rest of their AI ambitions, and tying in with Echo and so on. Yeah, I think there's some exciting possibilities for this one.
Well, let's get into the rest of the stories. U.S. House lawmakers and the House Energy and Commerce Committee passed and sent a bill that would allow companies to more easily test and deploy self-driving cars on U.S. roads for a vote in the full chamber. Safely Ensuring Lives, Future Deployment and Research in Vehicle Evolution Act, which roughly abbreviates to Self-Drive Act, jeez Louise, will allow overtime up to as many as 100,000 highly autonomous test vehicles on the road in exchange for the Department of Transportation to waive some federal safety requirements like steering wheels Companies will need to prove that their self-driving technology is as safe as traditional people-driven cars. No date has been scheduled for the vote. Paul, you're actually later today on New Zealand time going to go have a discussion about self-driving cars with somebody in your government, right?
Yeah, I've got Simon Bridges, who's the Minister of Transportation here in New Zealand, coming in for a podcast. So this is an area I'm really interested in, and I think anything that governments can do to facilitate moving things forward in terms of autonomous vehicles is good. I think there's still a lot of concern out there from the general public that don't really believe that the technology is there yet, but certainly my confidence from what we've seen so far suggests that governments should be supporting this stuff, getting vehicles out onto the road. And in this case, with the Self-Drive Act, it looks as though there is certainly some onus on the automakers to be proving that their vehicles are going to be at least as safe as human-driven ones, which shouldn't be too hard to do when you're talking about a machine that's got eyes in the back of its head and lots of computing power.
Oh, absolutely. When I look at a story like this, it's obviously the confluence of a couple different things. The auto lobby in America is tremendously powerful. There's a reason why the automotive industry has been bailed out several times before by the government, and several auto companies have been bailed out. So the fact that this is where the technology is going, the question now becomes, if you are a governmental representative, is whether or not you impede it, and how long you impede it for the sake that you don't want to have blood on your hands if something goes horrifyingly awry. The fact that this is happening now is very, very important, that it's a federal act, because it also just opens up the places where these kinds of cars can be tested on the state level, where we've seen a lot of different varying options from, listen, let's all remember, it was, I think, last summer when Uber had to load up all of their cars from San Francisco and truck them on down to Arizona to continue their testing. So obviously incremental steps here, but I think both here and in New Zealand, it's just a matter of time before these things continue to roll out.
I agree, and the changes that they're going to bring to us, I think still we're struggling to understand exactly what those things are. What's going to be the impact when we get to a point where 100% of the vehicles are autonomous? Does that mean we can double the speed limit, triple it? What are all those possibilities? I'm not sure, but I think the changes are certainly exciting.
We have a new update to the streaming wars at the New Music Seminar Conference in New York. YouTube's global head of music, Leor Cohen, stated that Google Play Music will be merged with YouTube Red to create a new streaming service. Cohen added that he wants more direct collaboration with music labels and rights holders. The move was made to help educate consumers and bring in new subscribers. Google said it will only notify users, will notify users before any changes happen. Now, here in America, and I don't know how much of this is analogous to what's happening over there in New Zealand, Paul, the big war to see who will own the future of music distribution has largely been fought between the industry leader Spotify, which has many, many more users, but has a free tier, which is very controversial, Apple Music, which has become a very powerful player, and now Google, which certainly has plenty of sway between their ability to make deals and have YouTube Red in their pocket, and yet has never been able to offer a very clear and concise proposition to their customers. Does something like, so this seems to be that they're following very much in the model of Apple Music. They have Leor Cohen, who was somebody that was much like his name is escaping me, but he used to be Interscope Records. Jimmy Iovine at Apple is a former music executive that now wants to seemingly follow the same playbook. Let's get exclusives. Let's make sure that we make a big deal that you're only able to listen to this here, but also have the largest catalog and a robust technological infrastructure. Do you think that this seems that following the Apple path and maybe not doubling down on the Spotify path, since YouTube and Google is really, really great at selling advertising, is the right path?
I'm not sure. I think time will tell on this, but I think there is some benefit from a simplicity, perspective of bringing things together in this way. A single subscription that gets you access to as much as possible seems to be smart. I'm an Amazon Prime subscriber.
Oh, that's a good point.
Getting access to the music and videos and so on that comes under that subscription. Although I maybe don't leverage those things as much as I could within the subscription. Just having it there and it being simple is great. And from a user perspective, I like it.
So that is actually fascinating. I'm really glad you brought that up because that's kind of off the board here. Right now, they're looking to do, like I said, something that is fairly similar to Apple Music by all available evidence. However, you're right. Google does a million different things, and Amazon does a million different things. And Amazon doesn't care if you understand exactly everything that your Prime does. They are fine with you only knowing 10% off the top of your head of what kind of value you get out of that $99 a month. Whereas as long as it's the 10% that you care about that keeps you paying for it, who cares? Just keep stapling things to it. People that love 2-day shipping for Prime probably don't know that you can also get a free Twitch subscription. And similarly, the kid that gets the free Twitch subscription doesn't care that mom and dad can get mulch on 48 hours notice. Similarly here, I wonder what Google could all put together that would make a absolute, no doubt about it, I just got to pay X amount of money into this sort of bundle.
Yeah, I think there's some future there, but there's probably a bit more work for them to do in developing it. But they seem to be picking up a lot of users on YouTube Red already. I don't know the stats, but it does seem to be pretty popular.
Although, now that I think about it a little bit more, Amazon does make you pay extra for their music streaming service. That is not just totally included with Prime. So
it's not I thought it was tied in there.
I think you get limited access.
Prime members stream for free.
Well, for whatever reason, then my Echo doesn't play me full songs. Maybe I just got to figure that out. Everybody just email me and tell me what an idiot I am.
I haven't had that issue on my Echo.
Yeah, all right. We'll figure it out. How about this one? Sling TV will host its first pay-per-view event Saturday. The feature will be the UFC 214 Cormier versus Jones 2, according to Sling TV's Ankit Bishnoi. Oh, geez. The company is planning on future pay-per-view events alluding to other fight matches. Paul, this is a bit of a middle area for a lot of these companies. The trend seems to have been, and UFC certainly has their own independent Fight Pass feature, but they have stuck with traditional pay-per-view as it still does bring in a consistent revenue, although declining. Whereas companies like the WWE and certain other sports leagues have decided to totally unbundle and just sell a lot of their premium content directly to their fans. Do you think that this is something that the Cord Cutters pay-per-view, is this a way stop along to a different future? Or is there something comforting to, maybe I just want this fight. I don't want to subscribe and unsubscribe from a service every time I want to see something that might interest me as a casual fan.
Well, it might increase the reach possibly, although I'm not sure that Sling TV is big enough to make a huge difference there. But I still think that there's a fair bit of working out to do of how sport should be distributed on demand. On a global basis. Here in New Zealand, we have one predominantly satellite TV based provider who really has a stranglehold on most of the sport. And it's fair to say that most people are looking forward to that situation changing, and for these things to develop a little bit more. I think going forward, we will see multiple choices for people in terms of how they get access to content, and seeing things bundled together or accessible through a channel like Sling TV makes some sense. I quite like the way Amazon Prime allow you to add bits and pieces onto your base subscription. We seem to be seeing a bit of that. That makes quite a bit. That approach makes quite a bit of sense to me. Although Amazon haven't been playing in the area of sport yet, and it's, I guess YouTube are in a similar sort of base approach.
Yeah.
And that they haven't gone near any add-on services. They're just a world unto themselves at this stage.
Now, you said multiple, and I think that's an interesting idea, but it might run a little bit against across purposes, because for something like I think the WWE's model, what they want is like Netflix or HBO for you to come on during the busy season. They want HBO wants you to sub when Game of Thrones is on, and then they want to spend that entire 8 to 12 weeks that Game of Thrones is on selling you on all the other cool stuff that you can get in the hopes that they can keep you around longer. If you are just able to buy pay-per-views, then you are not getting into their ecosystem, and a substantial amount of that value, i.e. you forgetting to cancel, is totally lost to them. So I think this is it's interesting, because for me, this is a move by UFC that says, I desperately want to continue pay-per-view rates from totally collapsing. So let's try a couple other things that get us pay-per-view revenue. But at a certain point, if it continues to fall, we just got to jump whole hog into selling this stuff directly to our fans at whatever price we need. One more clarification. What I was referring to is Prime Music Unlimited, which is an add-on that gives you unlimited plays and skips on Amazon Prime Music. That is, at least in the United States, $7.99 a month for Prime members, and non-Prime members get it for $9.99 a month, which is very, very competitive. And $7.99 is cheaper than most of the other services competitively. AMD's budget Ryzen 3 processor shipped today. The 3.1 gig 4-core, 4-thread Ryzen 3 1200 will sell for $109, and the 3.5 gig Ryzen 3 1300X will go for $129. AMD executives said they've been down binning or turning off cores of Ryzen 5 and Ryzen 7 chips to create the line. However, the chips will sell for multiplier unlocked for overclocking. Aimed squarely at the Intel Core's i3 line and AMD's Intel Core's i3 line, AMD's promises superior performance, and both chips will likely be VR ready.
This looks cool.
So, but the price on VR potentially coming down. Is this the beginning chills of the winds of winter that signify that VR is here?
I'm not sure about that, but it certainly helps make it. It makes it more accessible, and what I hope we will see is we'll just start seeing a lot more AMD processors available in computers in the long term, and I hope that starts moving pretty quickly. Just looking at all the stats and the numbers around these Ryzen 3 processors, they look really fast, good value. And they look to compete really well against the i3 chips from Intel. So this hopefully stirs things up a little bit, and we see a little bit more from AMD, whose processors we haven't really seen other than very budget systems or custom build sort of gaming machines and so on for so long now. It's been very quiet. Intel have had far too much dominance, I think.
I was going to add one thing on what Paul just said, is that this essentially means that AMD is back as a significant player in the desktop processor market. Now, you might not think it's a big deal, but I mean, this is lighting another fire under Intel's collective corporate butt. And that could either mean lower prices on a set of family of chips that Intel is out, but it also means that there will be that competition will be coming from two directions for Intel, from the x86 from AMD, but also from the ARM series of processors that's licensed out by Samsung, Qualcomm, and everyone's grandmother. So it is a significant pressure on Intel, and it can't be understated that AMD, even 3 or 4 years ago, people were saying like, do they even have a place in the market anymore? I mean, other than just creating low cost chips, and Ryzen is proving to be a much bigger deal than people gave them credit for 3 years ago.
Well said. I'll tell you what, if you want other stuff that is well said, you can go ahead and check out the Daily Tech Headlines every day in about 5 minutes. Just subscribe to at dailytechheadlines.com. And again, if you are here for the financial news, that's where you're going to find it today. Go ahead and check it out in today's edition of Daily Tech Headlines. However, let's get into our main event. That is that Amazon, according to CNBC, is working on a secret health skunk works called 1492, working on medical records, virtual doctor visits, and more. Again, CNBC also reported back in May that Amazon is looking into moving into pharmaceutical sales. I wanted to talk about this, Paul, because Amazon is obviously a very buzzy company right now, as we pointed out in the pre-show. Jeff Bezos now into the dance with Bill Gates on who will be the richest man in Seattle, in the Seattle metro area / the world. However, healthcare is also something that is very much on people's mind as it is debated in the United States government. We won't get into the latter, but let's get into how the former can affect the latter. Is there room for Amazon to move into this space and bring value to not only customers in America, but customers all over the world, if at least part of this is for virtual doctor's visits, for example?
I think the potential of this is absolutely incredible in terms of the impact on society, the access to healthcare on a global basis. You look at, I guess, the big challenges in the majority world or the developing world, and that there are so many health related challenges. I think this could reach in there. Obviously, within the Western world, there's still room for improvement. I think looking at all sorts of aspects of how healthy we are today, sitting in front of screens and so on. So if we can move forward with bringing AI into the space, being more, I think what we will see is this sort of more continuous connection with healthcare. At the moment, I think traditionally we'll go off to our primary doctor on often a pretty sporadic basis, but when healthcare can be connected with us on a continual basis, then I think that's something that could really tip the balance in terms of starting to improve our situations around the world, from a health perspective. And the possibilities with AI and varying sensors and so on, I think are really huge. And obviously, Amazon's very capable in that artificial intelligence space, and they've got an increasing number of gadgets that are near us, such as the Echo.
Let's also point out here that healthcare is a $3 trillion industry. This is not, Amazon certainly might have the best intentions, obviously, to make the world healthier and happier, but this is a gigantic place for them to move into. They have made rumblings in the past because they do sell medical equipment that a lot of these boutique companies, or boutique, quote unquote, they make tons of money, but smaller, less connected companies than Amazon who sell specialized medical technology, they're waiting for the next shoe to drop and Amazon to just eat them all whole overnight. If they move into pharmaceutical sales, that's yet another thing. However, what I find very, very interesting about this is more of a social question. We have often culturally felt very, very private about how we share our medical history. It creeps us out when we find out that searching around via, women who are, in long-term relationships all of a sudden start getting ads for diapers before they find out they're pregnant and stuff like that. There's these weird areas that we have kind of bugaboos about. But what Amazon would want to do here is to really plug you further into the ecosystem. And if that's the case, do we trust Amazon as a company specifically to hold that data? Because the reputation that certain companies have had, I think that it would be a different story if Facebook wanted to do it, for example, or if Google wanted to do it, for example. Does Amazon have our trust?
I wouldn't trust anybody entirely. I think as we start moving into this, you have to weigh up the pros and cons. What are the benefits? If you start interacting with a system and you allow it to have your healthcare records, you have to accept that there is some risk that you are going to lose control of this information. That's just a trade-off, and certainly we would hope that wouldn't happen. But I'm sure there will be data spillages and hacks and other things going on at some point. In terms of Amazon, sure. They're obviously going to be looking to see how they can utilize this for further monetization. And if they're in the pharmaceuticals business, then quite naturally they're going to want to take advantage of that. Whether they will hold our data secure,
well, I guess maybe don't think about it as secure, right? Let's assume it's secure, but
I would never assume
we are comfortable with them having, or let me put it this way. Are we more comfortable or less comfortable with Amazon having that data secured in whatever impersonal AWS server it might be floating around in, instead of maybe a new doctor that you get when you move into a new town? How much more do you trust Amazon than you do just whoever I get assigned to when I go into, when I start searching on Yelp for a primary care physician?
Well, I wouldn't have a lot of confidence in your primary care provider, because often they're very small. Their capabilities in terms of how they look after their data can be fairly poor. In theory, Amazon should be much more capable at actually keeping this information secure. But yeah, I guess different individuals are going to have a different perspective on this. But when I look at the technology that I often see doctors utilizing, and sometimes they're quite small practices, I don't have a lot of confidence in their cybersecurity. So really anything that they hold at some point could be leaked or just lost.
Well, we will have to see where this goes. Again, this is all just reported by CNBC, and there are probably ongoing right now at every major tech company a billion different fun little skunkworks that are in different stages of progression. But certainly something to keep your eye on as Amazon continues to spread far and wide. Thank you to everybody who participates in our subreddit, by the way. Submit stories and vote on them at dailytechnewsshow.reddit.com and facebook.com/dailytechnewsshow. You can, of course, send messages to feedback@dailytechnewsshow.com. And here's one of them. Nick sent us this email about facial recognition in airports. I was listening to a story about facial recognition being used in airports on DTNS today. A few years ago, I was flying from Wellington to Australia. Hey, look at that. New Zealand. And I was able to get through security by swiping my passport through a machine and standing a set distance away from the camera until it gave me the all clear. From my understanding, it was using some sort of facial recognition to match me to my passport and let me through security. It worked perfectly, and I was shocked at how easy it was to do. You were nodding in recognition here, Paul. Have you used one of these machines before?
Yeah, so we have it's similar entering into the US as well for a New Zealand citizen, where you've got the the biometrics that are used there. It takes takes your photo, I think, coming into the US. New Zealand and Australia have that interaction. So we used to go through a manual passport check in New Zealand and Australia. Those bits have been bypassed. when I come into the US now, yes, I go through that. My passport gets scanned. I go through those steps, but then you do still, go to the usual desk. It just speeds up the process a little bit. But yeah, in some areas we've bypassed that passport check where you've got somebody there who's actually slapping a stamp on your passport and so on. And I can understand why that maybe is still appropriate in some places, but I haven't seen anywhere where they automatically stamp your passport yet with the machine. And really, I guess it's questionable whether you need a rubber stamp or not. It's a bit old school, isn't it?
I mean, for the government's usage, it doesn't really matter what the ink on your particular book is, aside from just trying to be a fun world traveler. These are definitely devices that I have used. If you have global entry here in America, these are the devices. It sounds like the exact same experience as you would have coming into America, where you can skip your customs lines and everything by just going through one of these kiosks. It is scary fast facial recognition. I can tell you that, because I think the 2 or 3 times that I've used it, I haven't even gotten my hat off by the time that they take the picture, and they've already okayed me to go through. So there's enough information coming through that they can match it with whatever they need to, and you can go forward. So great email. Thank you so much to Nick. And again, send us feedback at dailytechnewsshow.com if you have anything else that you would like to say. But I would like to say thank you to Paul Spain for taking time out of his day out there in New Zealand. Of course, the nztechpodcast.com is where you can find more of Paul. Anything else that you'd like to point out?
No, that's my weekly show. I'm working on a new show at the moment that I've been recording segments for, mostly when I'm in the US, and I'll be up again next month for Podcast Movement, which is a big podcasting conference, happens in the US every year. I'm working on a new show focused on innovation and disruption. So that's, I guess, a bit more the business side of technology that I enjoy dabbling in. So that's something to look out for over the next few months.
Well, I am pumped. Where's Podcast Movement this year?
It's in Anaheim, so it's a bit closer for me coming up from New Zealand.
Yeah, look at that, right into LA. Are you going to squeeze in some Disneyland, or?
I don't know about that. I got a few days in San Francisco first, and then down to LA before heading back to New Zealand.
Hey, I'll tell you what. If you're around, look me up. I'll buy you a beer. The beer's on me, Paul. Thank you so much for joining us. A big thank you to all of our patrons as well. Do you ever wonder what we talk about before the show begins? Sometimes it's the news, sometimes it's food, and sometimes it's something totally different. Patrons get an exclusive RSS feed where they can add their favorite to their favorite podcasting app to get this exclusive pre-show plus the regular show and post-show. Just support us at any amount at patreon.com/DTNS. Our email address is, again, feedback@dailytechnewsshow.com. We are live Monday through Friday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern, 2030 UTC at alphageekradio.com and diamondclub.tv. And our website is Daily Tech News Show. Tom is out tomorrow, but DTNS producer Roger Chang will be filling in, followed by Jen Cutter and Len Peralta. And I screwed up that, so I'll start it again. And, of course, go to our reddit.com/r/Daily Tech News Show. My name is Justin Robert Young. I will see you guys next week.
This podcast is part of the Frog Pants Studios Network. For more information about this and other shows, visit frogpants.com. Audio program so good, it's like you're there.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.
And we're out.
Nice. Cool. Awesome. Awesome blossom.
Thanks, guys. It was fun. Thanks for having me on there.
Yeah, thank you, Paul.
We're going to do the titles, and we chat a bit more after the show as I try to process the show. But if you need to head out, Paul, feel free to do so, because I know you have that super important appointment with the government transport minister.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Hopefully he doesn't talk too much politics. waffle, and we'll actually have a good discussion. So I will find out. I've never spent much time with them before, so it will be interesting.
Cool.
Cool. Are either of you guys going to Podcast Movement, that your sort of event, or not?
To be honest, that's the first time I've heard of it.
Oh, okay.
I have heard of it. It just was always kind of in places that it was not a con that I have made a priority, and it's always been fairly far away. But tell you what, if it weren't for the fact that I've been in a coma running this Kickstarter for the past forever, I would probably I'd probably have thought about it more. But if it's in Anaheim again, I would definitely think about going to it, because it seems like something that I would really enjoy.
Yeah, it's usually quite a good event, if that's if podcasts sort of, I guess it's the business side of podcasting as a big part of it. I'm doing a little Ignite talk about the future of podcasting and where I see AI messing with the future of podcasting and how things are going to change. So that'll be my little piece. All right, well, I'll leave you guys to
Cool.
finish off. But yeah, thanks again. That was fun.
See you later, Paul.
Thank you. Bye.
Cool. Cheers.
I do want to point out for the post-show listeners that I do currently get my healthcare from Amazon, but it is because my wife works at Twitch, as was pointed out to me in the chat. So a full disclosure, Amazon, I guess I don't get it from them. They pay for my healthcare.
Yeah, they give your wife benefits.
Yes.
Although I'm wondering, I mean, healthcare is an extremely complicated market to be in.
Yes.
Can you imagine if there was an Amazon HMO?
See, I think what they want to do is dismantle that. I think what they want to do is basically create a level of care that makes all but the most catastrophic coverage unnecessary, right?
Well, I mean, HMO has a very negative connotation. But if you strip away the innuendo and what it is, it's really just managing costs, which Amazon, I think, might be in the market to do, especially if they benefit. Think about it. Simply on the pharmaceutical side, they have enough clout to get a huge buy on most prescription medications if they choose to go that route. They could demand a certain cost per unit, and they could pass the savings on to customers, which would be great.
Oh, certainly. I mean, I think, yeah, cost efficiency, absolutely, without a doubt.
Especially if they're doing it globally. Like, say like Xanax or something. I don't know how much the thing of Xanax costs. But if they're selling it, see, I'm wondering if they would probably run afoul of various national laws at that point, though. Well, okay, quick titles. Prime-ary physician. Get it? Prime-ary physician. Everyone does this every time Tom's out to show without merit. Cookbait, 1492 shall commence. The jury is out on Amazon's secret health project. In the grim darkness of the music streaming future, there's only war. That's a pretty good one. Google Optimus IC Prime. Ryzen. Amazon is trying something new. Wow. Amazon Healthcare. First, do not charge for shipping. There's no accounting for Tasty One Top. Slings and views of outrageous fortune. I think we've done one variation on these AMD Ryzen ones before.
Yeah.
Amazon is in good health. Can you smell what the Amazon Secret Lab is cooking? Amazon drugs.
I'll tell you what. I don't always go with the top choice.
But Prime-ary physician.
But Prime-ary physician or Amazon Prime-ary physician is pretty dope.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Amazon Prime-ary physician because that is the cool. It's a good one.
And W. Scottus one, you deserve everything you get in life for adding a show without merit. There's no redemptive quality to adding a show without merit on an episode of DTNS or Tech News Today or Buzz Out Loud where Tom is not on it. It's never been funny. It was not funny back in 2002 when I'm sure somebody made the joke the first time. It's not funny in 2017.
Oh, W. Scott S1, we still love you. We're just
No, I
teasing
love. No, he knows I'm kidding. He was playing coy in the chat room. I just love that it's become the pineapple pizza of the Tom Merritt news franchise. Like,
Wait, I don't understand that metaphor. Is it
pineapple
like a Hawaiian
pizza, very
pizza?
very controversial right now. I mean, I think it's always been controversial, but certainly now it is a meme to debate whether or not pineapple pizza is either delicious or an abomination.
Ah, I see. I gets it. All right. You have the recording of just the show, right?
I do. I can.
Cool.
Where do you want that?
Just can you send it over to me through Dropbox?
Nope.
Or not Dropbox or Slack.
Yup.
I can do all the levelating here and magic.
You want it as a
That
wave?
was a great show. Whatever's. How big is the wave?
Let's take a look. Exporting now.
Dun, 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 dun. I have only been. It's funny. Every time I've been to New Zealand, it's only been in the airport because I've always been on my way to Australia. So I know what Auckland's airport looks like all the way through. But
I would love to spend time in both New Zealand and Australia one of these days.
go during the winter, and it'll be summer down there.
Oh, nice. All right. This is a 343 megabyte file.
Cool. Do you want to
Wait.
send it? You could just send it over, and I'll do the rest to it. You don't have to worry about it.
Let's pop it on over to the Slack. Upload.
And you're headed to Politicon this weekend.
To the little old ladies in Pasadena.
Yeah, I'm next door. If you have free time, hit me up.
Tell you what, I just might. We're just gonna be hawking them games.
Is it a 2-day thing or is it just a Saturday?
No, Friday we'll drive down, Saturday, then Sunday, and then we'll drive back Sunday night. I can't believe it's already been a year since.
I know, crazy, right?
Yeah, no, totally. So much has happened, and yet nothing's happened at all.
Believe me, I've gotten a lot more gray hair over the past 6 months.
Are you kidding me? How do you have darker hair than I do?
Because I'm Asian.
Is that it?
I get silver strands in my hair. It's ridiculous.
Oh,
But
God. Meanwhile, I'm over here looking like a Dickensian.
it's because you're doing Kickstarter. You are doing Kickstarter. You're doing
Jesus.
a high stress thing.
You ain't whistling Dixie. Man, I probably should have plugged that at some point during the show, but I got so worked up about
Plug it now.
everything else.
Wait, it's TV Action News.
ActionNewsGame.com. ActionNewsGame.com. I might have to send Tom a little promo thing for Monday and Tuesday, or Tuesday and Wednesday, because those will be my last opportunities to plug it on this show, and I won't be on until next Thursday.
Yeah, totally. It's just CC me on it, so I'll see it too.
You got it. All right. So are you handling the rest?
Yeah, I'm handling the rest. So if you need to take off, feel free.
I will.
I'm going to stop the stream. Thank you, everyone, for watching, supporting the show, and helping us out while Tom is out. Tomorrow will be me, Len, and Jen Cutter. So it could be an action-packed episode. It will be an action-packed episode. That's the key. It's going to be.
That's it.
All right. All right. Thank you for watching.